Hello, I'm Trent, aka oTradeMark here, and we are at the end of our stream. Man, we've been streaming for about 7-8ish hours, and I wanted to, before I went, I've been meaning to record an updated passive tier list. So there's a lot of newer players that came back to the game, or new players or players that came back after a while, and there's been new game passes added to the game since the anniversary event and whatnot. So the previous game pass tier list I've done is very outdated, and I wanted to come back here and approach this just fresh, with everything. So we'll just kind of go in order here. I didn't really put them in a specific order, and we'll just talk about each one and what their value is. So the first one that we have is Twox Drops. Now, 2x Drops has great value, I would say. I'm not sure that it's must-have value. So the thing is with drops is that it does not affect raid shards that you get in time trials. It also doesn't affect raids. So the things that it does affect is it affects your time trial shards. So it's great for time trial shard farming. It affects the fruits that drop in meteors. So the drops in meteors. And it also affects multi-open tokens. So those are the three things that it affects that I can think of off the top of my head. The things it does not affect are, like I said, it doesn't affect raids. It doesn't affect raid shards that drop in time trials, so like your chests. And it also doesn't affect dungeons, or it doesn't affect fruits that drop in time chambers. So there's a lot of things which people think, because it's called 2x Drops, you would think that it would affect some of those other things, but it does not. So make sure that you're not buying this thinking that you're going to get like double dungeon drops or something like that. Okay, so great value. It is good, and if you're going to play this game for a significant period of time, it's recommended, but it's not amazing, I guess I would say. Next up, we have 2x XP and 2x yen. So both of these are, in my opinion, the number one and the number two most important game passes to have in this game. Okay, 2x yen, it just you need yen for pretty much any progress in the game. It unlocks worlds, it gets you all your fighters, etc. And 2x XP is also, in my opinion, one of the most valuable game passes. It's 100 Robux less than 2x yen, and there used to be an argument where 2x XP was not a must-have. It was not even really good back when there was the incubator meta where you were getting 1 level per day. Incubators just took over the scene, and you didn't even really need the 2x XP. But now Direup has changed the way the incubators work. They now give flat XP per hour, and you now no longer can get that like flat level per day. So fusing into units is pretty much the only way that you can max them. And I would say that fusing during an XP time luck event is really the only efficient way to max out units anymore. So I would say 2x XP is definitely a requirement in the current meta. Next up, we have auto clicker. Now, auto clicker is going to be an interesting one. I would say it actually has average value. Now, it depends on what you're talking about. Like, it does have some value in when you're doing time trials solo in the early levels, especially when you're doing like lesser or medium time trials to farm time trial shards. Auto clicker is really nice because it basically you can just swipe across the screen and it like automatically is going to damage anything when you're using like a software auto clicker combined with auto clicker. So it's good value when you use it in conjunction with time trial shard farming and lower time trials. But the thing is, that's kind of like a niche use of the game pass. As far as just like dealing damage, the clicks don't actually occur that fast. And so a software auto clicker like OP auto clicker or GS auto clicker is going to do more damage for you than just the auto clicker game pass. So for that reason, I would say I'd put it kind of an average value tier, maybe even trash value, depending on if you use if you're on a device that doesn't allow you to use like a software auto clicker, then I would say it probably would go up to maybe great value or average to great value. I'm just going to put it in average, nothing, out of the ordinary. It is pretty cheap is the nice thing. So for only 69 Robux, it does do, a decent amount of work for you. And if you don't have access to the software auto clickers, like I said, then maybe it will bump up a little bit. Next up, we have the big backpack and the small backpack. Now, these used to be trash value. There was very little need to ever have these because you just wouldn't ever max out your backpack. But since max opens became a thing, they actually have great value, if not even possibly into the must-have range, because nowadays you open so many more stars with your max opens than you do just normally. So and the way that max opens work is it's the same multi-open token cost no matter how many spaces in your backpack, but how many characters you actually get per max open does directly correlate to your backpack size. So nowadays it's great value, maybe even I would say a must have. So I'm gonna actually drag big backpack over here ahead of 2x drops. If I had to choose between buying both backpacks and buying the 2x drops, I would definitely buy both backpacks. So that's just something to keep in mind. Backpacks are huge in the current meta and how they work. Next up, we have extra equip. Extra equip is an interesting one. So extra equip is, the thing is, early on, it gives you great value. So right when you start playing the game, you have an extra fighter. It does a ton for you to be able to progress through the worlds, lots of yen, etc. And then once you hit max world, there's this kind of awkward lull where your extra equip doesn't give you that much extra damage. You're not going to be able to max all your fighters, so you're not really going to be able to utilize that anyways. And there's just this weird area in the mid game where it has like average to no value. And then late game, like very, very late game, when you're now getting like utility teams, you have like, you're getting leader teams you're getting 3 or 4 leader units to buff up your 3 to 4 max carry fighters. Then each fighter that you have is going to very vastly improve your value again. So it's kind of this weird thing where it has high value initially, low value in the mid game, and then high value in the end game. So the only thing about extra equip is that it's 600 Robux. It's quite expensive. If you're gonna play this game for a long time, then yes, I would say it has great value. If you're just kind of playing casually, you don't play all that much, I would say it's actually average to trash value. So it really depends on how much you play. I'm gonna put it around great value there. I'm not sure 2x drops. If I would buy it before 2x drops, I probably would, because like I said, end game, it's very valuable to have extra lucky units while you're opening, as well as extra leader units while you're doing damage. So we'll put it there under great value. Next off, we have fast open. Now, fast open used to be an amazing passive, great value, if not like a must have. And oh, how the mighty have fallen. Fast open is actually trash value. It's F tier now. There is no reason that you need to be manually opening stars twice as fast, okay? In fact, the only game pass which has less value, in my opinion, than fast open is multi-open. Multi-open is literally you might as well flush Robux down the drain if you buy multi-open. Multi-open only gives you 2 extra stars, which you can normally get just by completing the time trials, extra stars. And it's twice as much Robux as fast open. So like, if fast open is already bad value, multi-open is like just the worst. There's absolutely no reason to buy this in the current state of the game. These are just trash. Don't get them. Save your Robux. It's much better to invest in other game passes. If you have all the other game passes, well then I would go buy your time chamber upgrades are more important than both of these. These are definitely not worth getting. That being said, the next one that we have on our list is half cooldown, and half cooldown is the complete opposite of fast open and multi-open. In my opinion, it is a must-have. Like I was saying earlier, max opens are the way that you get everything. It's the way that you get rare fighters. It's the way that you level up your units these days. And if you can max open, twice as often as other players. You're going to get twice as many rare units. You're going to level up your units twice as fast. Half cooldown for 400 Robux is insane value. I would put it in a must-have category. It's just really, really amazing for the Robux and for like the value of what you get. This is just amazing value here. Next up, we have the lucky game passes. So we have Lucky Pass 1, Lucky Pass 2, and Lucky Pass 3. That's 99 Robux, 699, and 2,000. So Lucky 1, so here's the thing. Lucky didn't actually used to be that great. In fact, if you had too high of luck, it actually hurt you. And so the Lucky Passes weren't super valuable. But since Styra made the changes, which made like every point of luck just continue to scale upwards, you're pretty much looking at Lucky 1 as kind of like a huge value, if not a must-have. The thing is, Lucky 1 is only 99 Robux, and for that 1 point of luck that you get, it's huge value that you're going to get in the long run. If you're going to play this game for any significant period of time, it's a very cheap game pass, and it does a lot for you over the course of a lifetime of you playing the game. Super Lucky, on the other hand, is 700 Robux. So this one makes it a little bit harder to say that it's a must-have because you don't have to have it. The problem with luck in the game is there's really only 3 ways to get luck. That's through game passes, upgrades, and basically getting lucky passive on your fighters. So you can control one of those, which is, you can control 2 of them kind of. You can control how many lucky units you open with by rolling for lucky passives, which is super important. But the luck upgrades, they require hours played in the game. So you can get your first few upgrades pretty easily. You can get your first luck upgrade within like 5 minutes playing the game. You can get several luck upgrades by just playing the game for a day or 2. But after that, it starts to get very long. Eventually you have to get like 1,000 hours into the game, 2,500 hours into the game to get the later luck upgrades. And that literally requires you to AFK in the game. Like, you can't actively put in 2,500 hours into this game easily. I mean, almost everyone that gets the later luck upgrades, they're AFKing the game, using a device and some software to prevent them from getting kicked. You need that in order to get the later luck upgrades. So it kind of depends on what device you're playing on. I would say on how much value Super Luck 2 does, or Lucky 2 gives you. Super Lucky, I'm gonna put it in the great value. You could argue that it does have like more value than a lot of these things. It's kind of 6s. Like, personally, I would rather just open more. And like, if you open more stars, you're obviously going to get more units, but luck is also helping you getting rare units. So it's somewhere in here. I'm not saying it would be probably a must have, but it does make it. Here's the thing. Lucky game passes do give you significantly more value if you're new to the game. Because like I said, the only ways to do it is rolling for passives, playing a certain amount of hours, or buying game passes. Well, if you don't want to play 1,000 or 2,500 hours into the game to get that 1 point of luck, you can just spend 99 Robux. If you want to get those 2 points of luck, you just spend 700 Robux. So it's like a shortcut to 2,500 hours. And because of that, I'm actually going to put Ultra Lucky at average value. Now, Ultra Lucky it's a hard one for me because it does do a lot. It gives you 3 points of luck, and that's a lot, especially early. But the problem with Ultra Lucky, the only problem with Ultra Lucky, is that it's very expensive. Okay, it's one of these things where Ultra Lucky, it requires 2,000 Robux. Now that's a significant amount of money for pretty much anyone to be spending 2,000 Robux. If I was saying the amount of like how important this is for rare units, this would be a must-have. All right, like if you want divines, this is a must-have. Both of these are must-haves if you want divines. Okay, but it's so expensive that your value per the cost drags this down a tier, and I would even say 2 tiers for Ultra Lucky, because it's the most expensive Game Pass in the game. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, again, if you do plan on playing this game a long time, this will pay itself off eventually. So they're must-haves if you're going to play it, you know, a long time. But in the interim, in my opinion, this is probably where I would kind of put it, just because it's so expensive. Its value per Robux that you spend is probably going to be better off invested into some other things, like backpack space, half cooldown, 2 times yen, 2 times XP. Pretty much everything that I put here, I would rather have on a new account before I had Ultra Lucky. Next of all, we have Magnet Game Pass. Now, Magnet is actually, in my opinion, a must-have Game Pass. Now, this could be kind of controversial, because I guess in some situations you didn't used to have Magnet, but I think it's become more and more important. And because of how important AFK fruit farming and time chamber is, I feel like Magnet is kind of a must-have now. Without Magnet, you can't as easily AFK yen farm on bosses, and you also, it's just basically impossible to AFK fruit farm in time chamber. So I'm gonna put it as a must-have. I wouldn't say that it's as important as these 4 over here, but it's definitely something that I would not play this game without, because you just need it, like I said, to AFK fruit farm, which is super valuable in the long term. But that is, again, only for AFKing. So I guess if you're on a device like a phone or some device where you can't use tiny tasks, you can't AFK you know, farm, or you can't AFK fruit farm, well, then this magnet basically has trash value for you. So it's one of those things where you have to be on a device that can take advantage of it. But if you are on one of those devices, it's basically a must-have. All right, passive luck. Passive luck is an interesting one. It's, so again, this is something like super lucky or something like ultra lucky, where there's tons of value with passive luck. In fact, again, long term, you're gonna get so much value out of passive luck. You basically, it doubles your chances of getting rare passives. So if you guys didn't know, it's like a 1 in 4,000 chance, 1 in 4,000 roll chance to get a secret passive. It's super rare. That's with the Game Pass. Without the Game Pass, it's 1 in 8,000 chance of actually getting a secret passive. So you can see how it's going to save you in the long run. It's going to save you millions of raid shards and thousands of passive reroll tokens by having this Game Pass. The only thing that, in my opinion, makes it not a must-have is the fact that, again, it's expensive. So if it's 1,000 Robux for the passive luck Game Pass, and in my opinion, it's just, that's too many Robux for your value compared to cost, at least initially. So I would rather have all this stuff ahead of it. I might push it ahead of like 2 times drops. I would actually put 2 times drops maybe at the end here, passive luck a little bit up earlier, maybe even extra equip. I'd put it before extra equip. Actually, yeah, I definitely would put it before extra equip. Something like this order right here. So passive luck does have a lot of value. It's great value, but because of its cost, again, it's high cost. Only buy it if this is a game that you're really enjoying, and if you want to get those super rare passives, then it's kind of like a must-have. It's just so hard to get secret passives in this game without this Game Pass. Even mythic passives are, you know, you're talking about literally half the amount of rolls that you need on average to get a mythic passive. Today on stream, I rolled 11 or 12 mythic passives rolling for passives. If I didn't have this luck Game Pass, you know, I would have expected to get 5, 6. I literally got twice as many as I would have without that. So it's great value, maybe even up or down depending on how much you play the game. Next of all, we have Sprint. Now, okay, so Sprint is actually, I would put it trash value, but here's the thing with Sprint. So you don't really need Sprint. You can get move speed by just unlocking mounts, and then if you if you unlock all the mounts, you're gonna have enough move speed where Sprint won't really matter. Here's the problem. when you first start playing anime fighters, you're so slow and you don't have any mounts that it's such an annoyance that I actually would bump it to average value just because it's only 29 Robux. Like, it was so annoying for me to play the game on my free to play account that like I really just wanted to buy Sprint, not because it gives you that much value, but it's just annoying to have to walk everywhere slowly. Eventually, it won't really matter once you have a bunch of the mounts, but I would say early on, if you have 29 extra Robux you can throw, it gives you some average value, some decent value, or maybe at the top of trash value tier there. Okay. All right. Yeah, sprint trash. Okay. Someone just Shark Boy was saying sprint trash. We'll throw it to trash because it really doesn't do much for you aside from get over your annoyance. Teleport, on the other hand, teleport used to be the worst game pass in the game. By far, I would have said teleport was absolutely garbage, had no value in the game, until Direb made a change which allowed you to teleport straight to time chamber, straight to the, what's it called, challenge area, whatever it's called now, basically straight to time trials, and you can teleport straight to raids. So now there's actually, I would argue, great value. The 49 Robux gives you great value nowadays, saves you a ton of time not having to walk around. Maybe average value, like the top of average value, somewhere's around like auto click. No, it has definitely had more value than auto clicker, but I'm not sure if it has more value. Like, bang for buck, teleport is one of the best game passes in the game. However, because you can just walk all these places yourself, I'm gonna put it at the top of the average value tier. It's good. It's like, if you have the 49 Robux, it's great. I would say it's something that you could put in long term. It's going to give you tons of value, and it helps you like just be efficient, but it's not like a must have. And it probably, depending on like, you know, how many Robux you have, if you have, you know, a lot to spend, then yeah, it's just one of those quick ones for 49 Robux where someone that just has a few Robux to spend is going to get a lot of value out of this. Okay, so the last two game passes that we have are Vault Slots and VIP. Now, Vault Slots is one of those interesting things if you are a collector player. Like, so the value of vaults is twofold. Basically, a vault is a place where you can put some of your fighters to not take up backpack space. Remember when I said backpack has so much value, because it's like both backpacks have way more value than vault slots, right? But vault slots, the problem with this game pass is it actually doesn't give you many slots at all. It's only 50 extra slots for 200 Robux. And the only real value that they have, like I said, is opening up more space in your backpack. It's like, for those of you that are collectors that want to have units, but you don't want to occupy your backpack space with them, that's pretty much what it's for. But in all honesty, there's just not enough space, right? Like, I was trying to collect all the Roblox units in the game. There's like hundreds of Robux units, or at least 200, and yet, or at least like 150, and yet I can't even put them into my vault because the max amount of spaces that I could have is like 90 or something. So vault slots to me has trash value. You can unlock vault slots normally just by increasing how many fighters you've unlocked, but maybe at worst it's like the worst of average value. At best, at best, it's like the worst of average value, but I would actually put it at trash value. Not a lot of value here. If Direb ever makes it so it gives you more slots, and if unit trading ever comes out, then we could make an argument that vault slots should come up here in the rankings if unit trading ever becomes a thing, because, well, you basically have to predict if unit trading ever comes out, because there's some units, like let's say Spooky Island units, that were limited time and they're exclusive to a certain period of time, where they could have a lot of collector value in the long run, but until unit trading becomes a thing, there's not really a point to hold on to those units. They just take up space. So I don't know, I'm gonna put it at the top of F or trash value tier. And then we'll move on to the last game pass in here, which is VIP. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about VIP. it used to be kind of trash value, to be honest. That like the VIP unit you get is basically the same strength as an early, like a mid-tier mythical. So early on, VIP gives you quite a bit of value, I'll be honest. The mythic unit that you get, or the VIP unit you get, is going to be good for a little bit. But after a while, it's really going to drop significantly in value. And in the long run, the only value you actually get in VIP is there's a reduction of cost on stars. Now that is actually pretty important, because you can look at 25% less cost on stars as the same thing as, like, you know, a 1 point whatever X bonus stars open for the amount of yen that you have, right? So yeah, long term, VIP does give you some value. It's not nearly as much as like 2 times yen or 2 times XP, but I would say for 400 Robux, you could make an argument for it being somewhere in the average value tier. And here's the thing about VIP, okay? Direb on stream, I think it was on stream or in one of the spotlights or something, he did say that the only game passes that he was considering a buff on was VIP and VIP and possibly the open passes down here. So looking at it from that perspective, if Direb does change it, it could raise in the ranks really quickly. Depending on what he does to change it, I don't think the unit is ever going to be super, like, Direb's not going to make that unit like a divine, but maybe the secondary benefits that it gives are maybe like if he added a time multiplier onto VIP, or if he added maybe it's, I've seen some suggestions where it gives just like 0.25 yen, 0.25 XP, 0.25 time. If that was the case, VIP would have tons of value, because you'd be getting just a little bit of all the different other game passes, and then VIP would probably shoot up to the great or the must-have value tier. But for now, I'm going to leave it down in the average value, probably towards the end. The 25% reduction on stars is pretty good, but it's not, you know, it's by no means something that you should be focusing on early. And the last thing that would actually talk about here that would be included in like the game pass or your Robux spend on anime fighters is your incubator upgrades. Okay, so your first incubator upgrade is very, very important. I would say it's a must-have. And then your next 2 incubator upgrades are probably like around average to great value. And then your last one is a great value. Okay, it provides more time multiplier than other things. But they are quite expensive as well. The multiplier upgrades in time chamber do get pretty expensive, all the way up to 2,000 Robux, like I said earlier. Ultra lucky is one of those things where it has less value because of its costs, and that's going to be the same exact situation with your multiplier or your time chamber upgrades. But anyways, guys, hopefully this helped you out, help you understand what the most valuable game passes are in anime fighters. But anyways, guys, that is it for me. Malo Alpito. Thanks for watching, and peace. I'm out of here.